Well, welcome to my YouTube channel again. Today I'm going to do something a little different. I'm going to do a tool review. This is really intended to go on my website so people will have some information, can see it when they want to order my system. So I want to talk about all the features and benefits of the system and how it was developed a little bit. Okay, let's talk about the Carbide Cutter, the Hunter nanograin Carbide Cutter. In the past, most of us, and I too, have used the high-speed steel cutter as a scraper, and that works pretty good inside a vessel, keeping it nice and sharp. You can get a pretty clean cut. But Mike Hunter came along with the new nanograin carbide. That's the sharper carbide, the harder carbide with the very, very fine particulate that it lets it get a razor edge. It's not like the old carbides that use a bigger carbide powder that they start with. So we have a big advantage here with a sharper carbide. And what I've done is set it up, designed it to be used different than most people, even that use the Hunter carbide. Most people don't set it up with bevel support. And right at 12 o'clock, right at the tip here, as I'm working inside the vessel, I've got bevel support. And if you can see from the camera's kind of parallel to the floor here. And you can see how it's tilted towards the camera. So that tilting gives it a slicing action. So I have bevel support with a slicing cut. So it's not unlike a ring tool or a hook tool in the bottom of a hollow form, or even acts the same as a bowl gouge, slicing through the fibers really cleanly. And when we're talking about ingrain, we want to be slicing through those ingrain fibers really cleanly with a slicing cut rather than scraping them. And most hollow forms are ingrain hollow forms, and especially in a lidded boxes where this really excels, because that slicing action leaves such a clean surface behind that it looks like it's already been sanded to 400 grit already, and so very little if none sanding on the inside of a little lidded box where it's hard to get your fingers in there. It's not fun to sand lidded boxes. So great tool. Two advantages of the carbide is that the surface left behind is much better, and of course you don't need to sharpen it. Designed to be disposable. You just throw it away, put a new one on. We're using the #1 Hunter here, the smaller carbide. It's 3/16, the same as the 3/16 cutter, same size, because of its efficiency. It takes the right amount of wood. It doesn't start any vibration issues. You can hog off and make a ton of shavings in a hurry. It's very, very aggressive on that angle, but yet it's efficient, so that you're working with the slicing action of a relatively small tool here. So it's got really big advantages of it. I'm using it all the time now. I very seldom ever use the high-speed steel cutter anymore in a scraping mode. Okay, it's very economical to use also, because we're going to spin this around and be able to use it 360 degrees, so we can use the entire surface before it starts to deteriorate and we have to replace it. So it lasts a long time, 25-30 times longer than high-speed steel. All right, so that's kind of a short little description of the features of the tools, and you really have to have good tools and accurate tools in order to hollow and have fun hollowing and not beat your body up. But even as important as the tools are, I think just as important is the process, how we're going to use them. And so I've got a ton of resources, YouTube clips, I've got articles that I've written that are archived on my website. I've got a newsletter publication with all kinds of information from Q&As in there. I've got DVDs that I've done, and in fact the hollowing DVD comes with my system. I think it's so important that I include it with the system, so it shows how to use the boring bar and the laser and the carbide cutter all in the DVD that comes with it. So bottom line, there's lots of resources, and I'm always near the phone, or even when I'm traveling, I keep a close lookout on my email. So if anybody has any questions, I'm very approachable and reachable. So what you get is part of my experience and my process along with it to make it easy and fun hollowing.